Hello and welcome to Money Matters. Coming up on the show, a look at the untapped opportunity that cooperatives present, making money through solving social problems, and the potential in the security service business. But first, 2014 was a mixed bag. A tough year for some businesses, but also a year of growth for others. And for those in the banking sector, their loan books started growing, emerging from a season of low demand. So the question we ask, however, is whether the small and medium enterprises are part of the bank loan growth trajectory.
I know you lead one of the leading players in the financial sector, if you like, or the banking industry, so to speak. Yeah. Just walk us through, as you know, from where you sit, how did 2014 go?
Thank you. Thanks, Charles, for having me.
Yes.
2014 was, to me, from where I sit, was more of a recovery year. We had gone through a crisis in 2011, 2012. There was some medicine prescribed in that period. And 2013, we saw the fundamentals, most of the parameters getting back within shape. But in 2014, the latter part of 2013 into the first part of 2014, we also experienced what they call the second round effects of the crisis that we had suffered in 2012. So for me, 2014 was a recovery year, and more specifically about banks or the banking industry. We saw private sector credit beginning to grow again. Of course, there were challenges first in 2014 in the banking industry. We had, I think, several players had exposures to either traders or exporters to Southern Sudan. So there was a dwindling of the remittances from Sudan, from Southern Sudan specifically, which meant that the repayment capacity of several of our clients as an industry was actually impaired.
Was in a way hit.
Yeah,
that would explain probably the increase in non-performing loans, among other factors.
Might to an extent, okay. But you know, it led to a struggling. So it's a dwindling of the remittances, and that impacts the industry, both in terms of the foreign exchange that was coming from that, but also the dependence on the cash flows from the activities coming from the trade between Uganda and Southern Sudan. For 2015, my outlook, if I may mention, is that we should see banking assets continue to grow.
Yes.
So that growth in the private sector credit, I think, should be seen to grow beyond where we ended 2014. As we see the government spending more or honoring the pledges, investing more into infrastructure, that presents more opportunities, not only on the financing side by the banks, but also on the transaction banking or the cash management.
Cash management.
So that increases the liquidity within the system.
Within the system. But then there are also those who feel that probably this increase in money in circulation or money available in the economy might, you know, spur things in a direction that may not be favorable to some.
I would want to think that the authorities, the monetary authorities, are doing their job, and we should leave them to do their job, because they monitor on a daily basis. They will be looking at the monetary aggregates within the system, and where they think that this might cause a spur, okay, in the prices or in the price stability. If it is going to cause any increases in the prices that is not backed up by the fundamentals, then I'm pretty sure they've got all the tools to intervene.
I hear you. Now, let's look at, of course, many people have pointed to small and medium enterprises as the engine of growth for this economy.
Absolutely.
And I know as Standard Chartered Bank, you've really gone out of your way to try and reach out to these guys.
Yes.
How is that coming out? I mean, this growth trajectory, for instance, we're talking about, you know, emerging out of that slump, you know, after 2011 and all that. Where are the SMEs on that? Where would you trace them on that trajectory of growth?
Okay. SMEs are critical players in the economies. Very critical, and you cannot discuss growth. The growth you're talking about of 6% sustained over a period of 10 years, you'll find that in the SME sector, you actually have better deltas, better growth than many of these other sectors. So I place SMEs at the center of that recovery. So what you ask what that exactly means is that SMEs are investing more into the capacity. They're buying equipment, they're buying plant, they are investing in the skyline of Kampala. These are not multinationals that are investing most of that you see. It is the medium enterprises. Yes. It is Ugandan companies.
Now, on that particular note, in the area of financing or access to credit, do you think we've reached that point where we can say as a market, and I'll ask you this as a key player in this market, where we can say that yes, we've done a good job to facilitate SME growth in this country, aware of the importance of these guys?
Okay, thank you. I think there's a lot more to be done. A lot more. And there's a lot for any player in the financial sector in Uganda actually to do. All the way from microfinance institutions, the deposit-taking institutions, lending organizations, and banks. Okay. Now, when you look at our exposure to SMEs 10 years ago and what we have today, the growth trajectory is that steep. And this is cutting across all banks, starting with our own Standard Chartered Bank in terms of where we were 10 years ago, 2004, and the contribution that SMEs were making, both to the P&L and the actual asset book. Yes. The trajectory is that steep.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kasagande. It's been nice having you.
No, nice being on your show.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to coming back.
Anytime.
Uganda's oil and gas prospects are now on the radar, even with confirmed commercial deposits estimated at 6.5 billion barrels. This scenario has equally set a cross-section of local investors who moved fast to create enterprises such as hotel services and logistics, among others, eyeing the sector. But there is still concern in the industry as some of the oil farms are yet to secure production licenses, a key catalyst for releasing more investment dollars into the economy.
The confirmation of considerable deposits of crude oil in southwestern Uganda rallied local investors alike into establishing businesses to tap around the prospects. Hoima town itself has seen infrastructure development in hotels, commercial and residential properties.
And it is a big investment, maybe to the level of about maybe 3 to 5 billion. It's a lot of money. And of course, working in partnership and also using bank loans. Business is still low because what I thought would happen, that the demand would be high, is not yet as high as it should have been.
A holdback in oil development programs owing to lack of production licenses for some of the players such as TAL and Total are feared as factors behind the current lull in activities.
Activity scheduling, I just cannot understand. There must be activity schedules. Actor A must undertake activity B around this T time. If you just can't do that, you cannot attract investment. Time is money.
Development partners such as the World Bank have since voiced their concern over this situation, which comes at a time when global prices of crude have dropped considerably.
Speed is of the essence, as I said, and to maintain the interest of oil companies and foreign direct investments, the government has to, take decisions quickly. We are, of course, very keen to work together with the government on any policy making and provide any support.
Besides a huge capital outlay running into trillions of shillings anticipated from expenditures by multinational firms, strengthening agribusiness activities in the region are being taken as a priority.
Now, the point of it is that it should not be ultimately just supplying the oil industry, but the oil industry would be the catalyst to build up the suppliers, and that even when the oil is finished, then those suppliers would have markets wider than the oil industry.
According to the Ministry of Energy, the development of a pipeline from Hoima into neighboring countries and a mini refinery to process crude are still high on the table.
The pipeline, the feasibility study will be finished in April, and so that feasibility study will also be, taken forward in order to open up the Albert and Graben to the coast. And of course, the oil companies will also be given production licenses to take their activities forward.
All the same, the market remains keen to see the actual takeoff of these grand plans that should improve the quality of Uganda's economy and lifestyle for citizens.
A lot of grains traded in the market today are normally fast stored before they make it to the retail market and finally onto your plate at home. Several chemicals are at times used to control pests that feed on stored grain. Today we look at how safe some of these chemicals are to consumers. Risks associated with health and accruing from the use of chemicals found in grains is of perpetual concern to consumer activists. This week on Consumer Insight, we speak to stakeholders in the grain subsector. But first, at what stage do the use of such chemicals come in play?
The grain processing level, where we do drying, we do cleaning, and then we standardize. Currently, we are talking about harmonized East African community standards. So you can have grain grade A or grain grade B or grade 1 or grade 2. And that involves some bit of laboratory testing and quality confirmation.
But sector players say that the use of these chemicals is done within the required legal framework.
We have a full regulatory framework within which one trades or distributes or even handles these agrochemicals, be them in the field or under storage. But particularly for storage, we go for a process called fumigation, where storage pests and diseases for a certain period of time, usually 72 hours, are fumigated against by known and registered agrochemicals under recommended application rates.
The Uganda Grain Council also admits that dealers are required to follow global standards while trading in seed.
It is also a requirement if you are accessing regional and even international markets. They will want you to have fumigated your stock because of the measures that are taken against transboundary movement of pests and diseases.
Many times, cooperatives are mistaken to be of benefit to only farmer groups, but you'll be surprised to learn that the benefits you can accrue from the same as a professional in the corporate world. In Make Money this week, we look at the opportunities cooperatives present in terms of human and intellectual capital, as well as giving you a business edge in your trade.
It's often said that there's strength in numbers, and this statement is best brought to life through cooperatives. So if you're a business owner looking to run your business with the help and expertise of others in your field, then you may want to consider joining a cooperative. But what exactly is a cooperative?
A cooperative is a voluntary association of people who have a problem, and they want to address that problem by coming together voluntarily to pool resources and solve the problem jointly.
Which brings us to the next point of how cooperatives work at helping to solve social and economic problems or business needs.
Normally, it's a service which people cannot access, either because of high costs or because it is not available. This supply is not there, and the people want to do it on their own. So it can be farming. Coming together itself has a lot of advantages. And so the cooperative is really helping people to harness those advantages, which they cannot do individually.
But away from just dealing with problems, cooperatives also provide opportunities to grow and enrich your business.
Provides this a structure for putting resources together. It also provides mechanism for pooling the bargaining power. It provides a basis for pooling even ideas. Okay, so it is just really a matter of how to put ideas together, how to put resources, how to put many things together.
There's, however, a misconception that cooperatives are restricted to certain fields like farmer groups, an ideology that could not be further from the truth.
So it just includes all types of people, all types of profession. Again, it depends on what problem you have. So it can be farmers, it can be engineers, it can be architects, it can be anything.
If you're sold and are ready to join a cooperative, there are certain things that you'll need to know.
The first thing, of course, is to mobilize people who have the same idea, who have the same feeling as yourself, same need, because the cooperative is based on need, common need. Number two is also to get bylaws, constitution. Yeah, you have to do the constitution. We can guide you on how to be done. And then number three is to register. Once you have finalized all those stages, you have to register.
It's comforting to know that you're not alone in running your business and you have a safety net to fall back on in case anything goes wrong. This is why, as a professional and business owner, you may want to consider joining a cooperative.
Several business owners today prioritize provision of security for their investments and day-to-day enterprise operations, albeit at a cost. This opportunity is what Alex Nkwanga has since identified and positioned his Savannah Security Company to play a unique role. This is his story.
Alex Nkwanga is the founder of Savannah Security Services, an unarmed guarding business which has since grown into a mid-sized company.
We started with one dog, and today we have close to 500 dogs. For the security guards, we started with one guard. I remember he was actually using a bicycle, but today we have over 400 guards.
He speaks of the new dimension in the market that is now dictating this nature of security service across a city that has seen its entire population profile widening by the day.
We do a lot of training for guarding. We use dogs for patrol. We train dogs to sniff, to track, criminal tracking. We use dogs to detect explosives, and more so we use them in the industry of security.
According to Alex, Uganda's residential, commercial and industrial premises are now having access to a world-class mode of security service.
When you provide a dog service, we provide everything. You don't need to own a dog today. You simply give us the business. You can have the dog from our side. We feed the dog. We take care of it. We do the treatment. We provide all the service that is entailed around the dog.
With a turnover worth millions of shillings today, Alex insists that Savannah is on a growth path even without his direct involvement in this enterprise.
The governance of the organization is not a one-man show. There are lots of people in the different functions. From the chief executive, myself, I have a managing director, we have a general manager, we have a manager for public relations and facilities, we have operations manager, we have a deployment and supervision manager, and lots of people in the various category, up to the lowest person in the organization.
Nevertheless, he also faces a challenge typical of many micro, small and medium enterprises in Uganda.
I could give you an example. You can have 100 dog handlers, train them, assign dogs to them, and by end of 2-3 months, you have half of that number. The rest don't know why they come to work. So every time you have to keep training, you have to keep training, you have to keep training.
But Alex has a vision for Savannah to emerge as the country's top security firm. He also gives advice to many young peers.
Why is the takeoff a problem? The takeoff is always a problem because we are not patient. We want to begin big. It's always good to begin small and then you end up where you want to be. And I think that is what is working for us. We started small, But over time, we are growing until we reach the point when we feel we are where we want to be.
Let us now have a look at the latest from the financial markets. That's it for this week on Money Matters. My name is Malcolm Sime. You want to join us on the show, send us a text on 6565. You could also look out for NTV Money Matters on Facebook. Just leave your comment on our wall. See you next week on Thursday. And this is always Money Matters.